What is freedom, really? We talk about it, fight for it, even die for it, but very few men ever understand it. Because most men confuse freedom with indulgence. They think being free means doing whatever they want, whenever they want. But that's not freedom. That's chaos wearing a mask of choice. Think about it. How many times have you said, "I can do what I want," and still felt lost? How many mornings have you woken up with everything under your control, your time, your money, your choices, yet still felt enslaved by your own mind? Freedom without discipline is like a wild horse without reins. It may run fast, but it never arrives anywhere. And the man who cannot command himself will always be commanded by something else, his fears, his addictions, his comfort, his past. So here's the question every man must face. Are you truly free, or just unrestrained? Because freedom isn't the absence of boundaries, it's the presence of direction. Freedom isn't doing what feels good, it's doing what's right even when it hurts. And until you master discipline, your so-called freedom will always be the prettiest cage you'll ever live in. The false freedom, how comfort enslaves you. We live in a world designed to keep you comfortable and weak. Everything around you is built to eliminate friction. You don't need to cook, you order. You don't need to move, you scroll. You don't need to think, you consume. And every time life gets even slightly difficult, there's a distraction waiting to rescue you from reality. But that rescue is the real trap. Comfort is the silent killer of potential. It's not pain that ruins men, it's pleasure without purpose. Comfort numbs you just enough to forget that you're wasting your life. It keeps you alive, but never awake. It gives you enough to survive, but never enough to evolve. You think you're free because no one's controlling you. But what if the chains are invisible, built out of convenience, comfort, and endless entertainment? The truth is simple. You don't become a man by escaping discomfort. You become one by mastering it. When you learn to sit with boredom, you discover focus. When you learn to endure pain, you find strength. When you learn to deny pleasure, you uncover power. Freedom is not the ability to satisfy every desire. It's the ability to rule over your desires. That's discipline, the art of being your own master. A man who cannot say no to himself will always be controlled by something weaker than him. And that's the tragedy of our time, men enslaved by their own appetites, while believing they're free. The structure of power, discipline as order. Now let's talk about power. Not dominance over others, but sovereignty over self. A disciplined man is not necessarily louder, richer, or stronger. He's just in control. He owns his mornings, his habits, his emotions. He's not a slave to impulse, he's a commander of consistency. Discipline creates order. And order creates peace. Without order, everything falls apart, your body, your mind, your relationships, your mission. Look at nature. Everything powerful is structured. The ocean has tides. The seasons have rhythm. Even chaos has boundaries. Why would your life be any different? To live without discipline is to reject the very structure that makes existence meaningful. Discipline is the architecture of freedom. It's the structure that allows power to flow without destruction. It's the invisible spine behind every achievement worth having. A disciplined man is predictable, not to others, but to himself. He knows what he'll do when the alarm rings, when stress hits, when temptation whispers. And that reliability builds trust, first with himself, then with the world. Men without discipline chase passion. Men with discipline become purpose. Because passion burns fast. Discipline endures. Passion is emotion. Discipline is identity. Every warrior, every philosopher, every great man in history understood this. Discipline is not restriction. It's alignment. The more disciplined you are, the more you can focus your energy. And the more you can focus your energy, the more unstoppable you become. Order isn't oppression. Order is the foundation on which peace and freedom stand. The inner war, fighting the self that wants to fall. Every man carries two versions of himself. The one he is, and the one he could be. And every day, these two selves are at war. One seeks comfort, distraction, and validation. The other seeks growth, purpose, and peace. The battle between them never ends, it only changes form. You feel it every time you hit snooze instead of getting up. Every time you scroll instead of creating. Every time you promise to change but postpone it just one more day. That inner voice whispering, "You deserve a break," it sounds kind, but it's a liar. Because every break that breaks your momentum weakens you. Discipline is the weapon you use in this war. Every time you say no to weakness, you prove that your higher self still leads. Every time you push through pain, you remind the world, and yourself, that your spirit is not for sale. Pain will visit you either way, through discipline or through regret. One builds you. The other breaks you. Choose your suffering wisely. Remember this. Discipline doesn't kill your freedom. It protects it. It builds the walls that keep chaos from invading your soul. It gives you something priceless, self-respect. And when you respect yourself, you stop needing validation from the world. You stop chasing attention and start commanding presence. That's what makes disciplined men rare and magnetic. Because they radiate control in a world drowning in impulse. Conclusion. The silent freedom. So what is discipline, really? It's not a punishment. It's a path. It's the bridge between who you are and who you're meant to be. Discipline is saying, "I will do what I said I would do, even when I don't feel like it." It's the quiet rebellion against your lower nature. It's the daily practice of choosing alignment over indulgence. When you master discipline, you stop reacting to life, you start leading it. You no longer move because of emotion, you move because of direction. You're no longer blown by every wind, you become the mountain. Freedom without discipline is chaos. Discipline without freedom is tyranny. But together, they form the paradox that defines true masculinity. Power under control. Strength in silence. Peace through order. So when life tempts you to drift, to ease, to let go, remember. You're not here to be comfortable. You're here to become capable. Discipline is the cost of mastery. And mastery is the currency of freedom. Every moment you resist weakness, you train your soul to obey truth. Every small victory compounds into character. Every act of control becomes a brick in the fortress of who you are becoming. So start now. Set one rule, and keep it. Rise before the world expects you to. Do one thing difficult every day, not because you enjoy the pain, but because the man you're building deserves it. And someday, when chaos comes, as it always does, you will stand unshaken. Because the war was won long before the battle began. It was won inside you. Discipline is not the cage. It's the key.